Okay, welcome to this episode of Behind the Line 50 Plus. So, this series is kind of just diving deep into the lines that make up the episodes of the 50 Plus. Our primary way that we're going to be doing that is by looking at the onX map and just talking about the line. Think of it as sort of a video guide. Obviously, the episodes themselves have quite a lot of information, but they're also just entertainment. This is going to be talking very specifically about kind of how to do this line if you ever want to do it. Doesn't substitute education, doesn't substitute making decisions in the field, doesn't substitute mentorship, doesn't substitute all the basic things, of course, that you need in order to go ski these lines. But this is supplemental information that just can help you if you feel like you ever want to go ski these lines. So this is the Grunge Couloir. Let's get into it. So I've got the Grunge line pulled up, which is the first episode of the 50 Plus in 2025 on X Maps. I got the snow layer. Let's talk about it. So we're looking at American Fork Canyon, which is above Lehigh and American Fork, Utah. You might recognize this mountain, Mount Timpanogos, from one of the episodes of the original 50. Let me get rid of my content right here with this little clicker, and you will see that this line right here, this pink little line, is cold fusion. The information for cold fusion is already in from the Beacon guidebooks that's imported into onX Maps. They have got all the details already in there. Cold fusion was one of the lines in the 50, one of the classics. It's already in there. I already skied that. The Grunge is very close to cold fusion. So let me pull it back up. So let's talk about it. The Trailhead. Trailhead's a little hard to find. Not too hard. It's kind of like some summer camp here. We kind of, I don't know if it's legal or not, but we always kind of camp right up in here, this Pine Hollow. There's a gate and a winter closure right in here. I camp here, and then in the morning at like 2 a.m., drive back down all the way to this trailhead. So zoom in. Here's a picture of where our trailhead is. This is the parking. There's limited parking. So get there early if you want to ski it. It's probably like only like 6-7 spots at most. And you don't really want to like overcrowd this place or block it because this is an active camp. And even in the winter, there's people there. Also, don't be loud. People want to sleep there. We talked to someone later and they said they heard us going by and we were pretty quiet. So I be respectful. So there's a very obvious trail. It's marked. You start going up this obvious road. You start going up this switchbacks. You can kind of see it in the map itself. Here's kind of a picture of it. Yeah. It's icy at this time of year. It's actually probably icy at all times. You need a decent amount of snow. A lot of people ski Cold Fusion and Mount Timpanogos late in the season. They'll wait for it to completely melt out and go up on bikes. If you do early season, you got to make sure there's enough snow so that you can actually skin on it. So it's like one of those either ors. Ski it early enough where there's enough snow down to 6,000 feet on that sort of aspect, which let me double check. It's an east-facing aspect. Make sure that there's enough snow that low and ski it early, or wait till it completely melts out late and go it up on a bike. So starting off at about 6,000, clicked on the wrong one, starts off at 6,431 feet, and it's just kind of a long, flat approach. Like, let's see here. Right here is, 7,000, 1,500 feet of just walking on a trail. There's some noticeable forks in the road. You got to make sure you don't go the wrong way. That's where having digital maps like onX downloaded is really useful. We might have made a wrong turn. It looks here like we went this way. It looks like we could have gone this way. We were probably just lost in conversation and just like talking. I think we did actually go the wrong way. As you can see here, this was our track that we actually tracked. I'm trying to click this thing. We probably could have followed this other trail. Yeah, this was the fork in the road. We went right. Looks like we could have gone left. Should have pulled out the map, I guess, and we could have just followed a much shorter way. It looks like a little bit more vert, but probably would have cut off a little bit more of time. I just remember going this way the first time, and that's just the way we went. Oh well. You live, you learn. Maybe the third time's a charm. So yeah, 5 mile approach. You just walk. It's quite boring. I remember that was the first thing about Cold Fusion. It felt like a long walk for a pretty short ski line, and kind of not that fun of a ski line. So you get all the way to here, to the base of Cold Fusion. It's pretty noticeable because all of a sudden it opens back up and you'll notice that there's a avalanche path above you. Kind of show you some of those pictures. All of a sudden you see the town of Lehigh, American Fork below you. See the lights kind of right there. You can see them. So then you just start going up. Going up an avalanche path, obviously that has its downsides. One, avalanche hazard. So you have to make sure that the avalanche danger is low enough that you feel confident enough to skin and hike up an avalanche path. The second thing is it generally can just be terrible skinning. If the thing is slid, you're going to have avalanche debris. This thing itself is, what aspect is this? Let me just double check. That is very northwest facing. It's got west to it. Just gets it gets like sun in the afternoon. It gets really warm. It just, God, it was so refrozen and terrible when we were hiking up it. So, and then it gets really narrow. It's just terrible skinning. So we just kind of like wandering through the woods trying to find some sort of grip. It's kind of choose your own adventure. Sam, for us, just like started questing and we just started following him. You can kind of see this was Sam before we were setting the track, and then all of a sudden he decided to set the track and just kind of started questing out into the unknown. Beautiful view, beautiful sunrise. Yeah, obviously you can kind of go wherever you want, maybe not too far over, but let's check the topo. So what we got, 8,200, 86, it's about 8,600, it's about 3,000 vert. So give yourself whatever time it takes you to do 3,000 vert up to this ridge line, the ridge line of North Timpignogo. So I'm going to go back to the satellite imagery. One thing of note, the imagery on Onyx has gotten really good recently. So take that into account. Ridgeline, really fun. It's not too scary, but it is very beautiful. It feels not exposed, kind of like looks exposed, but it's not. It's one of those kind of things. You're on a just beautiful ridgeline. So we're taking photos, cool shots. That's where you get those magic shots. So coming up here, if you were to ski Cold Fusion, you just go up to the top of here and then ski right back down. For the summit, this was actually kind of confusing to me. So rolling over, it feels like you're going to drop in and then the grunge is here. You got to kind of go all the way down to this col. I'll show you where the pictures are. So it feels like it's dropping here. The col is actually right near this rock. That is where the drop-in point. So it's quite, you get to kind of this summit of North Timpignogo, not the actual true summit of Timpanogos, and then you walk down quite a ways to find the actual drop-in. We didn't bring ropes because we had we didn't bring ropes because we had gotten word that people that had dropped in before us didn't need ropes, but supposedly you often need ropes to get into the grunge. There's a big cornice, it can be quite vertical, and it is a necessary wrap to get into the top of it. Sometimes I've also seen there's a choke that later in the season you need to wrap over. So it is one of those couloirs that I read about that you might need technical equipment and rappelling equipment to get into. So you might need to down climb if you're a competent down climber, or you might need ropes and rappelling equipment to abseil and descend into it via ropes and that kind of stuff. So just of note, we didn't bring that stuff. Don't count on the fact that you don't have to bring it. Talking about this. So if you notice in the episode, if you did watch it, I was really nervous about dropping in. You'll get to learn a little bit why I was pretty nervous when you see the movie that's made, that comes out in December. The movie that was made in December, we were in Norway right before we went on this road trip to Utah. Like literally, Bjarne got off the plane from Norway. We picked him up and drove to Utah. There was some stuff that happened on that trip that messed with my head and had me a bit rattled. So those things can get in your head, have you spooked. And I just had that weird, spooky, weird, unconfident feeling. And all it took was Sam dropping in and doing that. And then you're just like, oh, man. And all of a sudden I drop in like in nothing. And you're like, duh, that's all you feel. And, to me, it's like, yes, of course, you're a professional skier. You don't want to see people like, oh, am I scared? And what are you doing? And like people are going to be like, look at you like a wuss or whatever. And like, oh, that's emasculating, or not emasculating, but yeah, sort of emasculating. But it's like, to me, like, that's what goes on. That's what happens. We all have high moments. We all have low moments. We all have moments of like extreme confidence, and we all have moments where we don't have that confidence. Like I've been in the exact opposite shoes before, where it's me and Sam's shoes, where someone is with me and just like nervous, not wanting to drop in. And I feel super confident. I'm like, yeah, come on, do it this way. And I'll send it. And then they all of a sudden get that same confidence and go for it and have that aha moment. That day, I didn't feel it. I was like not seeing it. I just couldn't see it. And I was really stoked once Sam did it. And it felt like when we got to that bottom of the couloir, of course, you kind of have that little bit of pit in your stomach of feeling like, man, I could have done that. Why did I feel like unconfident and whatnot? But like, ultimately you're like, I'm really happy Sam was there. And it was really cool to watch him do that with such confidence, and how it gave me confidence. Like, that's what teamwork is. That's what why we work as a team in the mountains. And I'm so thankful for that. So yeah, just one of those days, one of those things. So there's Timpanogos proper. The drop-in point is kind of right here. So it is a bit exposed. It's pretty steep. If you were to follow the top thing, it would be very consequential. Once you get into the main choke, it's steep, but I would say fun steep, like 45-degree steep. About that, maybe in the 50s. I didn't bring an inclinometer, but it's steep, quite fun. Yeah, there's the zoom out. So that's the Grunge Couloir. Let's see. Here is kind of the choke point. Let me bring up this chute. So looking down into it, this is kind of where, after that open first panel, that panel being that main steep part, the part where I almost kind of go over the bars. So yeah, be careful of Utah snowpack and, exposed rocks. Oof, that was actually a little bit of a close call. Ironically, I felt scared about this easy part up top, and then I almost went over the bars and felt like, I don't know, it was super easy once I got into it, and then I almost like went down. Anyways, this is the kind of going into the choke, making turns. There's Sam doing this really cool hop turn. That was pretty rad to see. And yeah, skiing down through the choke. That's the tightest part of it. So the couloir itself, really beautiful, shaded. The snow, even though it had been really warm, was still quite good because of the shadedness. It had been skied a lot by the time we had got in there, so it was a bit chippier than you'd want. But that's what happens when, you don't live in an area and you're trying to drive out there and be confident about the snowpack. 3 days after a storm. So skiing across, you kind of have a choose your own adventure to get out of here. We decided to kind of ski back down through this couloir to get back to our traverse mark. So I'll kind of pull up this. This was a photo of dropping into that couloir, and this is coming out to that basin. So you can kind of ski wherever you want. This is where a map really comes in handy. This couloir you could ski out. If you could find a way through this couloir, you could ski out. Heck, you could hike back up here and ski lines on this face called Bury the Hatchet. Heard an interesting story between Billy Haas and Noah Howell skiing the first descent on that called Bury the Hatchet. Some story to that name. And then you can ski out this way, traverse out, link back up with the skin track up. We skied out here, traverse back, kind of push, and then you go out the danger trail, which is probably the most exciting part of the day. Like, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy, kind of not. It's definitely thigh burning. It's better than walking, I'll tell you that. But you know, you're very happy when you get your skis off at the end of the day. So that's kind of the long and short of it. I would say the Grunge Couloir overall, it's a difficult line. I would rate it along the lines of something that you should aspire to. It's a steeper line. It is consequential. If you were to fall anywhere up top, there's high consequence. Might not die, might die, depending on what happens, but you're probably going to fall to the bottom of it. And then at that too, you probably should know not only steep skiing techniques, you probably need to know technical stuff, whether that's rope work, anchor building, and down climbing, if it is in lower snow or you have to wrap through the cornice or dig out the cornice. So it is on the more difficult side. I think it's a line to aspire to, work your way up to. In the realm of the classics in the book, the original book, it would be by far the hardest one in the 50. It's harder than the South Face of Superior. It's quite a bit harder than the hypodermic needle. It's on the more difficult ones in Utah, I would say. Like the way that Sam reacted to it, the way that Mally reacted to it, like it was one of the more difficult ones in the project that Mally was doing. So I thought it was a great line. Moment I saw it after we did Cold Fusion, I was like, I want to ski that line. So I was really stoked to finally get it done. Wish it was in better conditions. Wish I would have done it in better style, meaning I wasn't so nervous up top, but hey, that's what happens. So anyways, that's Behind the Line. Hope you enjoyed this, and until next time.